going first, starting off with an Ultra Ball. And this is something we haven't seen much today, and that is a turn 1 Bridget.
Ooh, Buzzwole still has made it onto the screen.
Oh, Buzzwole's still on the screen.
Haunting us forever and ever.
But we're going to see the Ultra Ball here, looking for likely a Tapu Lele GX. And you've got to think this is going to go for that turn 1 Bridget. Absolutely.
As we talked, that's not Cynthia for once.
I know it. Something, that's so important in these Zoroark decks, in these evolution-based decks, as we saw in round 1 with Michael Pramawat and Noel using their evolution decks, using Bridget there. And now we just see Andrew getting a Riolu as well as 2 Zorua. So having 3 Zorua in play is definitely solid to start this turn off.
Definitely.
He has a strong energy as well, so that's good to get that attachment on to the Riolu. And just a pass over to Jesper.
See, I have a feeling we might be seeing something fairly similar come over on Jesper's side. Yep. The Ultra Ball discarding is that an Acerola? Yes, an Acerola and a Bursting Balloon. Going for that Tapu Lele most likely here.
Yep. And as you guys may...
See the Bridget already.
There's the Bridget coming to the front. This Zoroark Garbodor deck relies on being able to shut off your opponent's abilities, but then being able to turn them back on for yourself so that...
Right.
You know, in Zoroark mirror matches, your opponent's unable to trade, but you are able to trade yourself.
Right.
So Bursting Balloon, of course, when you attach it, it's a tool card, which means Garbotoxin is active. But then the text of Bursting Balloon says that it gets discarded at the end of your opponent's next turn. So once it gets discarded, your abilities come back, and you're able to trade yourself. There's a slice off there. Kartana GX getting rid of that strong energy on the Riolu, and a pass over to Andrew.
We see Andrew draw another Riolu.
Yep.
And just go for the Cynthia right off the bat. Didn't have much left to give out of that hand.
Yep, he did find the other Riolu, though, which is great. He's going to have access to, maybe getting a couple of Lucarios out. And I think, this is an odd matchup, right? Because Lucario is weak to Psychic, right? Trash Avalanche hits Psychics, hits these Lucarios so hard because of, Psychic weakness, and these Zoroark decks do play a lot of item cards. But at the same time, Jesper Zoroarks are weak to fighting, and just for 1 energy, these Lucarios are able to get these knockouts.
We see the first Zoroark hit the field thanks to that Evo Soda.
Yep, and of course, it feels kind of weird. We're in round 5, and I don't feel like we featured Zoroark that much yet today.
No.
And we're going to see, just how powerful this card is. We have the trade ability, letting it, just draw extra cards. And also Riotous Beating, doing 20 damage for each Pokemon in play. If he can find a double color synergy and get a knockout on this Zorua, that'll be good for him moving forward.
See the Ultra Ball come down, discarding that Evolution's Mewtwo, as well as another Riolu, sorry about that.
Yeah, it looks like he might go for another Zoroark.
That's what I was thinking.
Just try to get, his consistent draw engine set up. And then at the same time, he has 1 more trade. He still needs to find that double color synergy if he wants to take a knockout this turn. So we'll see off of this trade what he's going to get. It can be kind of awkward. Sometimes you have things you don't want to get rid of. Floatstone, not too bad, though. Does find another Zoroark GX, though, off of that trade.
As well as that strong energy.
So he could find he did trade away that Floatstone, so he wouldn't necessarily be able to move this Zoroark and get a Lucario. But we'll just have to see what he gets. Looks like he does have the Lucario in his hand. Ooh, if he hadn't traded away that Floatstone, he actually would have been able to get the knockout here with Lucario. And chooses not to do his last trade. I think his hand was
Strong Energy
Lucario plus a Puzzle of Time.
Yes.
Things you don't want to get rid of if you don't have to.
Right. So off to Jesper, we see him evolve into a Zoroark, allowing him to get a second trade going.
Yeah, I think the only thing on Jesper's side of the field that I don't like is the fact that he only has the 1 Trubbish down.
Yeah.
His deck really is reliant on shutting off your opponent's abilities in these Zoroark mirror matches. So if Andrew is able to get off a really strong Guzma play and take out the only the only Trubbish or Garbodor that's in play, that's going to really, hinder what Jesper's able to do. And we see the double puzzle grabbing a Tool and a Mallow as well.
But you have to admit that Kartana drop was really cute at that time, getting rid of that energy.
It was very key, in fact. It made it so that, Andrew had to kind of change the way he wanted to play that turn. He was maybe going more in on the Zoroark play. Maybe he would have played a little differently if he still had that strong energy. Because he could even have gotten a knockout with Riolu. Riolu's first attack does 10 damage, and with the strong energy fighting weakness on Zorua, that's enough to KO it.
This is true. Only time will tell to see how this turns out.
Yep. Looks like Jesper is getting the cards with the Mallow. I believe I saw a Professor Sycamore, and I'm not sure what the other card is, but if I had to guess, I would bet it was a Garbatox and Garbodor.
Let's see. We see a Guzma being traded away.
Oh, actually, it was a double colorless energy, in fact. And actually going to put the Bursting Balloon on to the Zoroark. This is kind of a neat play. It's going to force Andrew to, Field Blower it if he wants to not take that damage and make it very easy for Jesper to take the KO.
Right.
Here comes an Evosoda being traded away, it looks like.
Drew a Mew and something else.
I think another Zorua. Going to trade away that Mew now. He finds a Bridget and a Lele. Trades away the Bridget.
For a Choice Band and a Cynthia. Not
still
much.
No double colorless energy. And Andrew, interestingly enough, actually chose not to attach that strong energy last turn. And now he's not going to be able to attach it if he wants to go for this Cynthia. Looks like he is, behind this Bursting Balloon, going to be going for a Cynthia. I think that's probably what he's going to go for. And it's just kind of interesting because he could have attached that strong energy last turn, but maybe he was scared of Jesper getting off like his own really good Guzma play, going Guzma, DCE, Zoroark, knockout. So it looks like we do see the Cynthia being played, and a Choice Band hit the bench on that bench to Zoroark GX. We know Andrew has already played or discarded one Float Stone. I'm not sure how many Float Stones he's playing in this deck. Usually these Zoroark decks do only play the one. Sometimes they will play a second. So we'll see if he has a way to move this to keep it from getting KO'd this turn.
He does have the double puzzle he just drew into.
He does have it, but I'm not sure that there's anything he really wants right now out of his discard pile. Maybe the strong energy, but he has one in his hand. The Perilous City, pretty nice, gets rid of the Kartana and the Lele.
It's nice for Jesper, if anything, I'd say.
Well, yes, but at the same time, it forces Jesper to find a Field Blower so that he can do, a little more damage with Zoroark GX. It's going to limit that Zoroark's damage output. So he's got a double puzzle. He does get that Float Stone back, so that is good. He can move that. And if he drew a Lucario as well, he could actually take a knockout here on this Zoroark. And Bursting Balloon, interestingly enough, would put some damage on to Lucario GX so that its GX attack, Cantankerous Beatdown GX, would potentially come into play, but no, actually going to choose to Field Blower away that Bursting Balloon to avoid taking that damage.
Interesting choice.
And I don't know how many items he's played. There's a chance that Trash Lance could just really come in and take this KO, and by Jesper sending up that Trubbish, that really makes me think that's what he's going to go for. Sycamore is going to find him a fresh 7. Let's see if he can find what he needs.
He finds another Zoroark, trades away.
Looks like a Bridget.
Finds a Bursting Balloon.
There
Trades it away. Or no, was that an Ultra Ball? Can't tell, actually.
Oh, there's the Trash Lance. There's the Unit Energy. That'll be what he needs. And, I would just say based on the fact that Jesper sent it up so confidently, I'm pretty sure there's enough items in there to take this KO.
More than likely.
Although Andrew did take the Float Stone back out of the prizes, or excuse me, out of the discard pile. But yeah, looks like we're doing a count, but it looks like it will be enough for the KO.
One Lucario down. And we see the Zoroark promoted up for Andrew's turn. He did end up getting another Lucario, it looks like, so if he is able to set it up, he could come back.
Yeah, absolutely. Lucario, like a Guzma Lucario play, would take a knockout on a Zoroark, but then at that point, Jesper just needs to Trash Lance knock that one out. So
if I recall correctly, he did just trade away that Guzma, though.
That's true.
So we do see him eyeing possibly that Tapu Lele.
He also does have Lucario and a strong energy in his hand, so he could attack and knock out this Garbodor with Lucario GX, and like I said earlier, would activate the Burst Balloon, and and would take some damage so that he can set up for a Cantankerous Beatdown. But at the same time, I think Lucario's not going to have too much of an issue one-shotting these Zoroarks anyway.
Not at all. He is debating on that Field Blower to get rid of that pesky little Bursting Balloon.
He's also got Tapu Lele in his hand. He has not played a supporter yet.
He has the strong energy as well as there's the Lucario played down.
Yeah, it looks like that is going to hit the field here. Maybe. Still kind of debating it. Is that what he wants to do?
There
Looks like it is indeed. Field blower going to get rid of that bursting balloon. Does have another Guzma in his hand. I know he did trade one away, but he could go for that. Looks like Cynthia is going to be his choice, though.
Instead of that N as well, which would have put both of them down to 4.
And this is going to put Jesper in an awkward spot. This Lucario will come up. It'll take a knockout. Andrew goes down to 3 prizes. And Jesper does not have a way to take a knockout on this Lucario. And if he attacks into it, Cantankerous Beatdown GX is activated, and it will do a ton of damage. I do believe Jesper also does play Mew EX in his list, so that is something that he's going to be looking to get into play this turn most likely if that Lucario does come active, which I think it probably will.
Rescue Stretcher bringing back the Riolu to the bench.
Yep, trying to set up for a follow-up Lucario potentially.
Bringing up that Lucario GX, which is going to knock out that...
Yep,
Oh, go on.
Yeah, 140 damage there, taking the knockout there on that, as you said, poor little Garbodor. There's that Mew EX, though. Float Stone as well. All he needs now, I think, is a DC. He actually cannot bench that Trubbish because of the Parallel City.
We can't bench the Trubbish.
Yeah, he did.
Okay,
he
got it.
Yeah, he has the Field Blower. He just hadn't played it yet, so they got it. They
got
it figured out. And there we go. We are good to go. Trubbish comes down into play, and that's going to be what he needs. Now he... will be able to. Oh, actually, he does need one more Pokemon or a Choice Band to take the knockout. But with 2 trades available to him plus this Ultra Ball, looks like he'll be able to find what he needs. Cynthia's going to draw him 6 cards, and he has yet to use that trade ability.
That's one of the great things about trade in this format. You can. Right.
So
Chip
DC,
is back, hopefully.
Yeah,
Hello.
I'm not sure if I cut out or not there. We cut out in each other's ears, so should be good to go now, though. And we have that Riotous being copied by Mew EX, and that is a knockout there. Andrew here will be able to take 2 prizes on this Mew EX potentially, but...
With these prize trades, I'm not sure he's going to be able to pull this off. Jesper seems to be in a great position.
Yeah, if Andrew can get an Acerola this turn, I'm not sure, if he necessarily plays one or not. Sometimes these lists do, sometimes they don't. It kind of comes down to that at this point. If he is able to Acerola and knock out this Mew EX with a clean Zoroark GX, I think he'll be in a pretty good spot, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see if he has that option. He does have a Tapu Lele, so if he has an Acerola in his hand, he does have 4 double colors, all 4 of his double colors in his hand right now. There's a Choice Band, so there's what he needs to get the knockout. Doesn't need that extra Pokemon anymore. He might be going for an N. Looks like that is going to be the choice.
Drawing 3 cards to Jesper's 2, but with trade, doesn't really matter.
Yeah, at this point, Jesper is going to be looking for double colorless energy plus a Guzma for the win, or Trashalanche plus a unit energy would be what he needs to knock out that Zoroark that already has 120 damage on it.
And looking at both of their decks, they're both quite thin. They probably could trade them away.
I'm sure they can get what they need if they need to, and looks like Andrew is going to bring up this clean Zoroark and take the KO. Riotous beating for 130 damage, takes out that Mew EX, 2 prizes, and we're going to just have to see, does Jesper have what he needs? All he needs, like I said, is that Guzma plus a Float Stone. Is he going to be able to pull this combo off? There's a second trade coming out. A third trade, does he get it? Looks like the Trashalanche Garbodor. Here comes a unit energy. There's the Guzma. That is what Jesper needs. Wins the game there by taking out Andrew's benched Zoroark. That was a close one.
That was. It was coming down to the wire. Both their decks completely thinned out. It was first one to the prize, essentially.
Yeah. And I don't think, I'm assuming now at this point Andrew does not play Acerola. If he had it, that would have been great, and I think he would have won the game potentially if he had Acerola in his deck. We've seen some of these Lucario decks play it in the past, we've seen some of them not, so looks like he's opted not to. And there's benefits and there's, pullbacks to playing it and to not playing it.
Right.
But we're just going to have to see what happens here in this second game.
Certainly Andrew was not expecting to find a Garbodor deck
here. Yeah, and it is just unfortunate that Lucario's weak to Psychic. A choice-banded Garbodor can knock out a Lucario if there's only, I believe, 4 items in the discard pile, if my quick math is right. So, definitely, pretty tough for Andrew to play around. And also, even if he tries to play around Trash Lance, Jesper has that Mew EX option.
Right.
So it seems tough, but at the same time, I think if Andrew can get a solid setup with Zoroarks with very few items in the discard, he can still stand a chance in this game.
Right, but at the same time, it's so hard with Zoroark decks because they want to keep trading all their items and just anything away to keep their engine going.
Absolutely, and that's what Jesper's kind of aiming to do here with this Garbodor deck, is to shut down the opposing Zoroark decks. But interestingly enough, we didn't even see Trashalanche that game, we didn't even see Garbotox in that game, which is kind of the idea behind Jesper's deck with the bursting balloons.
Right. But seemed to do work without it. So
he still got what he needed to get the win.
We do see Jesper having the mulligan, only having those 2 Garbodors in hand, sadly unable to play them.
Revealing the Max Potion as well, that is definitely a card that could come into play. These Zoroark decks can get into scenarios where it's just a lot of 2-hit KOs back and forth, and if Jesper's able to use that Max Potion to get ahead on the damage output, that will be a super advantageous move for him.
Definitely.
Andrew's going to get to start with 1 additional card, and he is going first this game.
Ooh, nothing better than that.
We'll have to see if he can get the turn 1 Bridget once again.
Jesper with that Lele start, ooh.
Not the optimal starter for sure, but looks like Andrew started one as well. Top deck's an Ultra Ball, though, so if his other Leles are not prized, he should be able to get that Bridget still.
Discarding a Guzma as well as, let's see, he's eyeing a Lucario.
I think he has another one in his hand. That may be why he's going for that. That was either one of the new full art ends or a Lucario. I'm not quite sure, but
it's hard to tell sometimes with these full arts.
Yeah, the full arts, while beautiful, make streamers' lives a little harder. But we'll see the Bridget come out. Gonna just grab 1 Zorua, 1 Riolu, and we'll see what he gets here for the third one. Looks like it's gonna be another Zorua.
He wants to rev that engine up.
Yep, getting those Zoroarks in play just so important. He does have the strong energy, so he can get that attachment this turn. Sure, he knows that Jesper plays the Kartana GX. Maybe he'll want to hold it, but I think it is still worth it to put it in play, and looks like Andrew agrees with me and puts it in play himself. So Jesper does get an Ultra Ball of his own, so both of these players starting Lele and having to Lele for their Bridgets to get set up.
Yep.
Definitely don't want to have 2 Tapu Leles in play this quickly. Normally you want to save them to get, your supporters out of your deck when you need to, and they can also be, they not necessarily liabilities, but they just take up space on the bench, right? Where you would rather it be a Zorua, you'd rather it be a Trubbish, you'd rather it be a Riolu in Andrew's case.
Literally anything else at this point.
Absolutely. So it is unfortunate to start it, but both players are on even playing ground here since they did both start the card.
But the good news is Andrew does play that Parallel City, so we can see those Leles disappear should it ever become an issue for either player.
Yeah, Andrew can definitely use Parallel City to, bump the Leles and then get, he can even do a play where he parallels away his Lele and then field blowers away his own parallel so that he can get some Zoruas in play that turn.
Jesper passes on over. Andrew ends up drawing a strong energy.
Yep, another strong energy it looks like. Actually here, if Jesper has Lucario plus a Floatstone and a Choice Band, he could even knock out this Tapu Lele doing 170 damage.
Opts for the N.
Yep, so it looks like he actually didn't have another Lucario like I had originally thought. I think if he did, he probably would have played it there, but...
So,
oh, well, yeah. So he does want to find one. If he can get a knockout here, I think he'll just be extremely far ahead at this point in the game. And he hasn't played that many item cards yet, so Lucario is going to be hard for Jesper to deal with, honestly. He would have to find his Mew EX plus Floatstone DCE and, a Pokemon or Floatstone, or Choice Band, something like that.
Right. I think he's definitely realized that he needs to start conserving a bit more. Here we go into 6. Let's see what he grabs.
Each player grabbing 6. Looks like there is a Zoroark, so he will have access to at least one trade this turn. A Mew EX as well. Probably wants to get rid of that, honestly.
Yep, trading it away for 2 new cards, Puzzle of Time, as well as a Guzma.
Cynthia, I think.
Is it?
Yeah, I believe it was a Cynthia. I think he may have already had the Guzma in his hand. Yes,
It's Cynthia, my bad.
Yep, no, and
they all
Zorua,
look the same.
They do, yes. Yeah, I think I mistook them earlier. Looks like Zorua will come down onto the field. I don't see any other playable cards in his hand, though. He has another strong energy, but...
Sadly just has to pass over to Jesper right now, who looks like he drew a DCE off that.
Yeah, I think I see a Eva Soda as well, which comes out immediately. Gonna just get a Zoroark GX in play.
Checking out the rest of his deck there, see what's prized.
Yep, just, taking another look through, always good to do. And once he gets these trades going, we'll see if he can find if I was Jesper, I'd probably try to bench another Trubbish. But, at this point, we saw last game he didn't even really need Garbotox and Garbodor.
Right.
He just really relied on Trashalanche, and it was all he needed.
Plus, that Kartana option is always there to get rid of an energy.
Yep, Kartana definitely very good. Looks like we might have a little bit of a technical struggle there, but I think we got it figured out.
Do know we are replacing this camera shortly.
Okay, cool. So Jesper was able to take the knockout there onto that Riolu. Has a bursting balloon on his active Zoroark. And Andrew does not have a Riolu in play, so that means there will be no Lucario this turn.
Such a shame.
And he has a pretty hard to work with hand. He has a Field Blower, does get rid of that bursting balloon. Double Puzzle could get him back the Riolu. I'm not sure what else he might want to get back. Maybe the Lucario that he discarded earlier.
Maybe. He does go for the double puzzle.
Yep, looks like he's going to go ahead and play it.
Opting for the Riolu as well as, let's see, the Field Blower.
So this is good. It puts it back in the deck for later on if Garbotox and Garbodor does come into play. He can get rid of the tool on that card so that he can use his abilities. And it also, he's putting 2 items in the discard pile by playing the Puzzle at times, but he's also taking 1 out by getting the Field Blower back. Right. So he's only really putting 1 more item in the discard than he had previous to that play. Mm-hmm. An item count is going to be important for Andrew here if he wants to avoid playing into that Trashalanche. So there's 6 new cards for Andrew.
See what he gets. Another Zoroark.
Access to 6 more cards off the top of his deck this turn. Just checking out his discard pile. What does he want to try to trade away? Looks like a Guzma hits the discard pile. There's a Zorua in his hand as well as another Field Blower.
Getting a double choice band off that.
Double choice band. Not what you necessarily need right there. Trading away one of them, in fact. Gets the DCE, though. He'll at least be able to attack this turn. But, he's not taking the knockout, unfortunately. Jesper did take away the main threat, being Riolu.
Right. But certainly nothing to scoff at here is that Ritus beating for times 20 damage.
Yep, 120 damage coming on to Jesper's active, and we'll see what he wants to do here on his turn. Does he get that Garbotox and Garbodor in play? Trade number 1 comes out. There's another Zoroark, and the second trade, getting rid of a second Zoroark GX. We'll see if he can maybe find room for another Trubbish, potentially. There's a DCE. There's a Guzma. He's just going to take this other Riolu out and just totally get rid of this option of Lucario that Andrew has.
It's a great play on Jesper's part, making sure to get rid of those threats. I'm not sure Andrew's going to be able to come back from this.
Yeah, it's definitely seems like a tough spot. But, the game is certainly not over. But it definitely is an awkward spot for Andrew to be in.
If you can't keep your Riolus out, it's going to be a very rough time getting it.
Oh, I thought that was Lucario. It looks like he top decked a Regirock EX, actually, that turn. Does find another double color synergy. Parallel City could be good for him here, getting rid of his own Lele. He might not want to play it on Jesper. I don't know. It would be a tough choice for Jesper. Does he get rid of the Zoroark with 120 damage on it? Or does he get rid of a Tapu Lele that he doesn't want to keep in play?
Right.
So there's an Acerola from Andrew. He actually does play Acerola, maybe just didn't have access to it in that last game when he needed it. There's a Kukui getting discarded with trade of Evo Soda on the draw. Unfortunately, with no Riolu or Zorua in play, won't get much use out of that.
Right. Finding that other DC as well. I think the Parallel City, throwing that down. Jesper opts very quickly for that Lele instead of that Zoroark.
Which, is fine. Sure, there's 120 damage on that Zoroark, but you need to keep your draw engine in play, right?
Exactly.
You need to keep those Zoroarks around. And looks like we're just going to see a Ritus beating this one for 130 damage.
Jesper looking into his opponent's discard pile, checking what's there, probably counting items to see if he can bring up his Garbodor.
Yeah, with Psychic Resistance on Zoroark GX, there needs to be 12 items in the discard pile for Garbodor to get the KO.
Mm-hmm.
So
Jesper opting to attach that unit energy to the Tapu Lele. And a choice band to that heavily damaged Zoroark on the bench. Then going into a Cynthia to get a fresh hand of 6.
I think we're going to see a Tapu Cure come out from Jesper this turn, actually.
Ooh.
Tapu Lele's GX attack would heal 250 damage off of his side of the field, 120 from one Zoroark and 130 from the other. I think that's the play that Jesper is kind of going for here. He knows that Andrew's not going to have a way to immediately knock out this Tapu Lele, and he knows he'll be able to heal his 2 Zoroark GXs.
Interesting. It's not an attack you usually see happen.
No, definitely not, but with these unit energies, you're able to have access to using this attack. Very useful. There's, a couple different GX attack options here in this deck. He's got the Tapu Lele, and he's also, of course, got that Kartana GX that we've seen be pretty good for him so far. So there's a Bursting Balloon and a Field Blower from the Puzzle of Times.
Opting to use both those cards right away.
And Jesper is using his Bursting Balloons not necessarily as much for Garbodor in this matchup, but he's been using them more so to force his opponent to find a Field Blower to not take damage to attack. And there it is, the Tapu Cure GX, healing off 250 damage from this side of the field.
And it is worth noting Jesper did play his own Parallel City down, limiting Andrew to 3, where he discarded one of his own Leles.
Absolutely, but Andrew finding that Field Blower, immediately saying, I'm not going to deal with your Parallel City, and I'm not going to deal with that Bursting Balloon. Get those things out of here, and let's see what I can do on my turn to respond to this Tapu Lele GX.
Starting with a trade, getting a Cynthia and a Strong Energy. Those Strong Energy's not doing too much right now without a Riolu or Lucario on the field.
Nothing he can do at this point with those cards.
But he does still have 2 DCs in hand.
Certainly it looks like, something that's kind of leaning in Jesper's favor at this point in the game. Andrew has not been able to keep Riolus in play. Jesper's hit the Gooses when he needed to, and that Tapu Cure, definitely is probably just a punch in the gut for Andrew at this point. It's just taking all that damage you've worked so hard for at this point in the game, just takes it completely off the field. Yeah. He has the Guzma in his hand. He's like, man, if that damage wasn't gone, I would be able to take 2 prizes here, but unfortunately, it's just not an option for him.
He's still eyeing it, debating it between that and the Cynthia right now, it seems.
Oh, no,
he ends up trading it away.
Okay.
For Zoroark as well as
an Ultra Ball, I believe, was the other card he got. So this can help him find another Riolu. He has a massive hand right now. There's well over 10 cards in his hand right now, I think.
It is certainly a thick hand right now.
Yeah, so we'll see what he gets with this. He still hasn't played a supporter. He has an N in his hand. He has a Cynthia as well.
Opting to get rid of that DC.
I think at this point he's got so many double colorless energies in play in his hand, he's just like, I think I'll be able to find him, yeah. And he does still have access to double puzzle at some point. He's got, 2 more left available to him that he can use if he needs them.
We see that Strong Energy finally come down onto that Riolu, as well as an N.
Yep, gonna put Jesper down to just 4 cards after taking that big knockout, or excuse me, after that big play of going for the Tapu Cure GX. And I think Andrew's gonna be very, very sad if Jesper finds another Guzma this turn to take out his Riolu.
Both players shuffling up.
Yep, and something that Andrew potentially could have done if their damage was still in play from Jesper is he actually could have used the Riolu with a Choice Band to take a knockout on one of those heavily damaged Zoroarks, but once again, that Tapu Cure just totally took that option away.
Right.
Riolu's first attack doing 10, but yeah, it looks like we're just going to see a 130 damage Riotous Beating come out for Andrew. Over to Jesper's side, going to be a trade, finding 2 new cards, has an access to another trade. We know he plays Max Potion as well, so if after he retreats this Tapu Lele, if he can find Max Potion and just take this damage off, it's going to be tough for Andrew to really do much at this point.
Yeah, pretty much. Being able to erase that damage is crucial to Jesper right now.
Absolutely. There's another Zorua coming into play. Let's see if he can find the Garbotoxin Garbodor. If he could lock this turn, that would be very good.
He's debating something. Wasn't sure if he wanted it, but
There's an Ultra Ball. This can find him the the Garbotoxin Garbodor if he wants it. Looks like it's opting for Trashalanche, though.
Interesting choice, but I can see why.
I'm not sure how many items are in the discard pile. Like I said, there would need to be 12 in the discard for him to take the knockout with Trashalanche, or it could be 11 plus a Choice Band.
Right.
Acerola actually going to pick up that Tapu Lele GX. There goes all that damage that Andrew worked so hard for, and it's just not there anymore for him to work with.
Allowing him to reattach that unit energy to that Trashalanche Garbodor.
Yep. Yes. All these Garbodors are confusing, guys. So many different ability options. It's tough. But
Standard's really hard.
Yes. We're going to see the Riotous Beating for 130 from Jesper. He's saying, anything you can do, Andrew, look, I can do it too. So Andrew going to work with his pretty sizable hand here. He does still have his Riolu in play, so he actually could get a knockout here on this Zoroark GX. Maybe if he could piece together some sort of play with a Acerola into a Lucario GX, that would be really powerful.
Right.
There's the Lucario. Let's see if he can find an Acerola. He has Tapu Lele in his hand, so he could potentially get it. Let's see if he can trade into it first. There it is, the Acerola. That will allow him to pick up this damaged Zoroark GX, and he'll take 2 prizes, and we'll be back into an even game here.
Wow.
We'll see if that's the play he wants to go for. Trading away a Cynthia.
Grabbing a strong energy and a rescue stretcher off of that trade.
Yeah, and he may want to get another Riolu in play with this rescue stretcher just so he can have the option. Actually, I think he had an Ultra Ball in his hand, so it looks like he may shuffle 3 Pokemon back in so that he has access to the Lucario later as well.
Plus, look at how thin that deck is. It honestly,
I think it has 2 cards.
Yeah, it's 2 cards.
2 cards left in his deck. Putting a couple cards back was definitely going to be nice. He has a massive hand right now.
Oh boy.
So putting back, looks like it's going to be the Riolu, the Lucario GX, and the Tapu Lele GX.
Getting some shiny stuff, throwing it in. Let's see where this goes.
So he's going to shuffle up. Jesper's going to cut this 5-card deck here. And Andrew's going to be able to take this KO, and we'll see if he does play that Acerola. If he does, I think he'll be in an excellent position moving forward in this game.
Definitely.
There comes the Lucario.
And there goes the Acerola down, removing all of that hard-earned damage on that Zoroark, promoting that Lucario up to the active, wrenching that Zora again, and here we go.
Yeah, Andrew doing all this work is finally going to be able to take these 2 prizes, but at this point in the game, I am sure with how thin his deck is, he has definitely played more than enough items for Trashalanche Garbodor to come in and take the KO here on this Lucario GX.
Definitely. Now they're both at 4 prizes each, but Jesper has a significantly thicker deck.
He does indeed, but at the same time, he's going to be attacking with this 1 prize attacker here in the Trashalanche Garbodor. He'll be able to take the knockout. Sure, Andrew can respond with a Zoroark GX's Riotous Beating, but if that's the case, he'll go down to 3 prizes left, and Jesper just needs to take 1 more knockout.
Jesper using that Mallow to get, it looked like, another Trashalanche Garbodor, and 2 other cards that he's going to put on the top of his deck.
Looks like he was eyeing up I think I saw him move the Kartana to the top of the deck. I'm not sure.
Definitely a good choice in my mind, because there is that DCE he would love to get off that Zoroark, which would leave pretty much no energy on that side.
You know, Andrew has so many cards in his hand, though, and so few cards in his deck. I'm sure Jesper knows that he's going to be able to find double colorless energy next turn, so it might not disrupt him too much, especially since it won't be combined with, like, an in or anything, since we know that, he's playing Mallow. He can't play in and Mallow.
Right.
But he'll trade, get 2 cards here, one of them being that Kartana, and another Zoroark GX.
Oh, no Kartana, actually.
Actually decided not to get the Kartana, it looks like.
He did only trade for the 2, though, so...
Yep. Takes the knockout. Andrew's Zoroark GX comes to the active. He needs 2 more benched Pokemon if he wants to take this KO. There's another Zoroark GX coming into play. Tapu Lele in his hand can be one of those 2 benched Pokemon. And I think there are a lot of item cards in Andrew's discard pile at this point.
Right.
There's a Tapu Lele Wonder Tag. We'll see what options Andrew has left to him. He does still have a Riolu in the deck. He's going to need to find that if he wants to take the knockout on this Garbodor. I think that is his last basic Pokemon in the deck without playing something like a Puzzle of Time, Double Puzzle of Time.
Possibly.
And you know, I don't know that he has the double puzzle in his hand. I didn't notice it in his deck, so there's a chance that that fourth puzzle piece could be in his prize cards.
Potentially, yes. But with that N, he will be able to save himself a few extra turns here, which
Absolutely.
is crucial.
So Trade is going to get rid of that Eva Soda. Does find the other Lele, so he did have another Lele in the deck.
Yep.
And it looks like he does have the double puzzle in his hands, but I'm not sure what he would want to get right now that would really help him. Going to go ahead and trade. Take the last card in his deck. It is the Riolu, but we know he has that in. We know he's going to be able to play it, so there's no risk of decking out here.
Exactly.
He has a strong energy in his hand. He could attach that to the benched Riolu and then play the in, but I think he might, you know, keep more cards in his deck, I guess. He's just going to go ahead and play the in. Sure. Looks
Knowing
like that's
right
the
now
option.
that he doesn't have that Lucario in hand, he knows that Kartana exists.
Absolutely. Yeah,
And
he's seen it.
He's seen it in action. He's not going to make that same mistake twice.
Jesper will have 2 prizes remaining. I'm not sure how many items have been played.
A lot.
Yeah, and
A lot.
if it's over 12, you know, if Jesper finds just one more unit energy, he'll be able to pick up the KO here on this Zoroark. There might even be enough where he could go Guzma on the Tapu Lele to get the KO.
I think based on the fact that he did go for the second Trash Lance on the bench just in case the first one's knocked out, he's pretty happy with what is in there, though he is counting right now.
Absolutely. So it looks like we're going to get a good count here. I think that was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yep. That's what he needs. There just needs to be 13 items. Looks like he just needs the unit energy. There it is, and that is the game. Jesper Eriksen coming over from Denmark and taking the win over here in Canada.
Fantastic.
So that was a really great game. We got to see both of those decks in action. Jesper was just able to hit what he needed back-to-back turns, taking out those Riolus in that early game, in that second game, and gets the win and moves to 5-0 here at the Toronto Regional Championships.
Looking pretty good for day 2.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be in a good spot moving forward. I think we're going to try to get an We're going to actually take a break here, guys. We're going to head to round number 6 coming to you guys shortly, so definitely stay tuned, and we will see you guys very soon.